The G2 set, Quake Beast. I finally have him. This is a set that only released in certain parts of the world. It's one of the harder Bionicle sets to get. Does this set measure up? Are the pieces that come in this set any good? Can you use them to build your own custom Bionicle creations? And can this set be revamped into something cooler? Well, let's discuss all these questions in today's episode. Let's check out Quake Beast. Quake Beast has this rather interesting play feature. You can pull the lever on his back and he can do a karate chop. It's nice that he can deliver a nice backslash or a forward punch. But one interesting side effect with this play feature is if you angle the arm in just the right way, Quake Beast can whack himself in the face. Which, I mean, stop punching yourself in the face, dude. I don't know if LEGO intended to do that. I highly doubt they did. An action figure with real punch yourself in the face action doesn't seem like something they would make. This is probably just an accident, but hey, it's a thing. Now, one side effect with this play feature is that the arm is very separate from the torso. It sticks out a fair bit. And it can make the design feel just that little bit awkward. Also, this face design. It always confused me a little bit. He has this lower jaw which is always open. You can move it, but moving it pops the mask off, so really you can't move it. And yeah, he's kind of always stuck in this roaring position. But I mean, is this actually his mouth? Because the translucent face underneath the mask, you can see it just kind of poking out at the bottom there. And if you look carefully, you can see the mouth on this face. So is this kind of like a false mouth that tricks his enemies? I don't know what you're tricking because the real mouth is very close by. Yeah, I don't know, this always felt just a little bit messy and confusing for me. And the lack of posability is a shame. And yeah, I'd argue that a few areas of this set are a little bit busy and a little bit messy. But look, Quake Beast is cool, to be fair. I'm serving too many harsh browns to Quake Beast. I do like him. I appreciate the risk that LEGO took in making this guy. They went for a drastically different design that's unlike anything that we'd ever seen in G2, and unlike anything that we'd seen in Bionicle as a whole. It's new, it's different. And, I think they pulled off these crystalline textures quite nicely. Plus, with all of the different elemental beasts in this final wave of Bionicle, each one is constructed in a very different way that makes them feel like they have their own personality. They're not just clones of one another. And we saw that fairly often in Bionicle G1. That wasn't inherently an issue, but an argument can be made that might get a little boring after a while. We want to see really unique characters. And this final wave certainly delivered with that. Plus, looking at them, they look like real, genuine threats that the Toa have to fight. They have some flaws, sure, but overall, they're pretty good. And also, there's something nice about owning this set. It just feels extra special. The fact that you couldn't buy this set in Australia and other parts of the world, it makes it feel rare and exclusive. It feels like a big deal to own this one. And I'd be lying if I said that didn't add an extra cool factor to this set. But that's the toy. What about the pieces that come in this set? Are they good? Can they be used in other MOCs? Well, let's find out. Quake Beast's back has these lime and silver marbled blades sticking out of it, which I think is a great look, by the way. In this context, they look way more crystalline, like big old crystals sticking out of the walls of a cavern. Nerved MOCs places these blades onto a character called Kyrie. And dude, there's something about this pop of lime. It looks phenomenal. Because, yeah, a black and white color scheme on a MOC. It's a very standard color scheme. You see it all the time. But that doesn't mean that it's bad by any means. Black and white looks beautiful. But this lovely spark of a new bright color on its weapons, it adds so much. I love it. If you're looking to bring a little bit of color into your MOC, give them some brightly colored weapons like this. Another weapon is this trans-purple spiked ball. I love how Inuku has used it here. Add two of them together and put them on a trans-purple chain, and seeing this, yeah, it looks a bit like an enchanted weapon that has magical properties. Super cool. The set has plenty more trans purple pieces to play with, like these crystal cluster pieces. Kukanabe has a MOC that uses them for some fancy shoulder armor, and I do like this idea. You get the sense that the character has found some sturdy crystals, and they've mined them and turned them into armor. They've even used some more of them for weapons as well, and hey, that's that spiked ball piece we were talking about before. There's one more use for that piece. Yeah, using them for armor and weapons. Good thinking. And then finishing off the trans purple pieces, we have this nice ribcage. I like how Max Howell uses this for this sweet looking shoulder armor. It looks so dynamic in this context. Oh hey, and there's one more use of that spiky ball piece. Embedding it into the arm design, very nice. And actually those purple claws on the fingers, they also come in this set. Nicely done. Something else that's included with this set that's not actually attached to the character, you just get it as a little accessory, is Onawa's mask, but this one's a little different. It's marbled with trans neon green. Very nice. How could you use this in a MOC? Well, Lewis Hammond uses it to make Toxic Onawa. Dude, this is such a cool concept. Maybe it's an alternate universe version of Onawa that has poison powers. Or maybe Onawa has been corrupted and this is like an evil Onawa. Or, I don't know, it's normal Onawa but his mask got infected and now he has to deal with these poison powers that he doesn't want. There's so many possibilities for stories, it's great. And dude, black and trans neon green on Onawa, that looks way better than I would have expected. Simply wonderful. And finally, Quake Beast's head. Like I said before, it's very unique because it's totally trans neon green. Typically when we get this head on G2 sets, it's silver. So this is a little special. I like the way that Shubi 4000 has used this piece. We see that it's put behind this skull mask. Normally the standard G2 headpiece, it gets a little lost under this skull mask. Putting a silver piece underneath a gunmetal piece, yeah, it makes sense that you're not really going to be able to see it. Or it's going to blend in a little bit too much. But this one, it accents all the skull details on this mask. Seeing all the trans neon green poking out, it makes this mask look way scarier. Good thinking to use it like this. So that's how you can use all the pieces that come in this set in your other MOCs. But what if you want to revamp Quake Beast? Well, you could do something like what Denel has done, and build a MOC called Kaiju Leatherback. Okay, so look, it's not a revamp of Quake Beast, but it certainly passes as one. It certainly has some Quake Beast vibes. I love how the back of this MOC looks. The nice line of electricity that flows down the back and leads into the face, incredible. And those hands, so big, so powerful, and so posable. That's a winning combination right there. I mean, you can just picture this guy pounding the ground and causing shockwaves as he does so. Also, check out this jaw design, using the same gunmetal armor piece that we see on a set like Skull Warrior. It's the piece that we see on his upper arm and his lower leg. You see, this ties in really nicely with Quake Beast's face. Better than the set does. And honestly, man, turning any of the elemental creature sets into a large, thundering kaiju like this, it's a sick idea. It just matches their aesthetic perfectly. And I like this shot here of him commanding a small stone golem army. That's fun. So there you have it. That's the mighty Quake Beast, and a few ideas for how you could use his pieces in your own creations. If you liked the MOCs that you saw today, be sure to take a look at the links in the description below. Go and check out some of the other things these builders have made and prepare to be amazed. Thanks for watching though, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.